Hey students, welcome to GK class. In this class, we are going to start your next chapter, Forms of Governments. There are variety of political systems used for different nations. Let us learn more about this. Before learning about forms of government, let us understand what is government. A government is a system or group of people governing an organized community or generally a state. When it comes to types of government, five specific types come to the forefront. Most forms of government are some variation of one of these. Some of the specific types of governments are authoritarian, democracy, monarchy, oligarchy, totalitarian. And types of government found around the world in history: anarchy, aristocracy, dictatorship, federalism, republicanism, theocracy, tribalism. Next, economically driven types of government: capitalism, communism, and socialism. Now let us discuss about variety of political system used for the different nations.
And today we're going to talk about some of the different types of government that exist in the world today. A government is a group of people that has the power to rule over a community, like a state or a country. In this lesson, we will be talking about the types of governments that rule over countries. There are a few key things that make up a government. Governments make laws and collect taxes. Governments have a justice system that decides punishments for breaking the law. Governments have militaries who can defend the country or invade other countries. And governments have a leader. But even with all of these similarities, not all governments are the same. We're going to talk about the three main types of governments: autocracy, democracy, and oligarchy. Let's start with autocracy. An autocracy is a government where all power is controlled by one person. In an autocracy, the leader does not have to follow the law or listen to what the people want. This type of power is called supreme power. The two most common forms of autocracy are absolute monarchs and dictators. An absolute monarch is usually a king, and the king's child will become the next leader of the country. In a dictatorship, the leader usually makes it against the law to disagree with the government. A person who disagrees with a dictator is called a dissident and can be arrested. The next type of government we will talk about is a democracy. This one might be more familiar to you. A democracy is a system of government often called the rule of the people, where most citizens can vote and elect people to rule the country in a certain way. In democracies, there are political parties. These are organizations of citizens who share the same beliefs on how the country should solve problems, help citizens, and interact with other countries. There are two main types of democracies. There are direct democracies, where every citizen represents their own opinion and votes on every law and decision in the government. The other type is a representative democracy, where the citizens vote for other people who will vote on all of the laws and decisions in the government. The United States is a representative democracy. As citizens, we vote for a president and legislators like senators and members of the House who write and vote on the laws and policies in the country. The third type of government is an oligarchy. An oligarchy is called the rule of the few, where all of the power is in the hands of a few people. Usually, this small group of people are very rich and are in the same family. Even though there is more than one leader, an oligarchy is not like a democracy. Only a few select people have the power to make new laws or change things in the country. There are many types of oligarchies, but some of the most common ones are aristocracy and theocracy. An aristocracy is ruled by people who claim to be better and of higher status than the rest of the citizens. Usually they are rich and have lots of privilege and schooling. In a theocracy, a group of religious leaders run the government. In a theocracy, all of the laws of the government are the rules of the country's religion. So let's do a quick review. An autocracy has one supreme leader who does not have to follow any laws, like a king or a dictator. A democracy has leaders that are voted in by the citizens, and the citizens have a say in what the laws should be. An oligarchy has a few leaders who are the only ones able to change laws, and they cannot be voted out by the citizens. All three of these types of governments exist in the world today. There are many theories about how government should be organized. These types of ideas are called civics. It's important to learn about civics so you can be an informed citizen. Practice what you've learned by playing the online games and quizzes. Have fun, and remember to always be clever.
In that first one, a political system that allows for each citizen to participate and vote after the certain age, so that a government is elected by the people, and that form of government is known as republic. Next, a political system in which the supreme power is in the hands of a ruler that is usually not chosen by the people, but region over the state or territory of for life and by hereditary rights, usually a sole or absolute ruler or king, queen or prince, and that form of government is known as monarchy. Next, a political system in which the state controls the economy and a single party, often authoritarian, holds the power. Also, the working class owns everything and everyone works towards the same communal goal. And this form of government is known as communism. Next, another authoritarian form of government where a main individual or a military organization rules the nation with others who work for enforcers, but he or the organization is the main decision maker. And this form of government is known as dictatorship. Next, another political structure that promotes equality and seeks to eliminate social classes, but here the workers earns wages and can spend as they choose, while government, not the citizens, owns and operates the production, often ending up in dictatorship. And this form of government is known as totalitarian. A representative democracy in which the people's elected deputies, that is representatives, people elected representatives, not the people themselves, vote on legislation. This form of government is known as democracy. Next, a form of government in which the deity is recognized as a supreme civil ruler, the deity's laws being interpreted by authorities. A government subject to religious authorities, and this form of government is known as theocracy. Next, a government that seeks to subordinate the individual by controlling not only all political and economic matters but also the attitudes, values and beliefs of its population, and this form of government is known as socialism. A form of government in which the representative democracy operates under the principle of classical liberalism, also known as Western democracy. It is characterized by fair, free and competitive elections between a multiple political parties. Now section B, answer the questions. Which kind of governing system does India have? India have democratic republic type of governing system where people have authority to choose their governing legislation. Next, what is the minimum voting age for an Indian? 18 years. What kind of governing system exists in US, United States? Presidential form of government or presidential form of governing system exists in the United States, in which president is chief executive and elected directly by people. Next, which country shares its borders with India, located at eastern end of Himalayas, has a king? That is Bhutan. Next, which neighboring country once had military dictatorship as its governing system? That is in Pakistan. Next, what kind of governing system exists in United Kingdom? Monarchy. In monarchy, political system in which the supreme power is in the hands of ruler, that is usually not chosen by the people but region over the state or territory of life and by hereditary rights. Next, last one, which neighboring country is largely a communist country? That is China. And this is all about forms of government. Thank you, students.